afternoon and welcome back. It's quite a cold grey day today, so I've lit the fire. I've made myself a pot of oolong and rose tea so we could sit down and have a chat about the 5 healthy habits that I do on a daily basis. So I want to share those with you. For those of you who are busy, which we all are, if you want to look in the description, you can see the time slots for each of the 5 habits. So if you want to jump to one in particular, you can do so. So I like to do various things every day, and they are habits now, so I don't really think about them. And it took me some time to work out which of my healthy habits to share with you. The first one is extremely easy. Every morning, the first thing I have is a pint glass of water. And this is basically to hydrate my body after a night of not having had anything to drink, and we breathe out moisture, we might sweat in the night. We need to rehydrate. And when our cells are fully hydrated, they work better. We give them the opportunity to work at optimal levels. So I like to have a pint of water. Now, the pint of water is actually warm, so I boil the kettle. I have half the glass is ordinary cold water and half the glass is boiled water, so I get a nice warm water. And the reason I go for warm water is I found it's kinder on my gut. I have had cold water before, and sometimes it doesn't really agree with my gut and it can upset my stomach. But I've found that warm water doesn't do that, and it's much kinder. The other thing I do is I add a drop of lemon essential oil to my water. Now, this is something I do not recommend to you to do. There are very few essential oils that can be taken internally, and most say do not. So I would advise that you have, which I sometimes do as well, have a slice of lemon or a quarter of a lemon and squeeze the juice in and put the whole pith in. If you clean it first, make sure you put the pith in because you've got the oil in there as well. So there's one caveat to adding lemon to your water. It can disrupt the enamel on the teeth, so do not clean your teeth for half an hour after you've drunk your pint of water. You can, of course, clean your teeth beforehand, but just be aware that the lemon juice can apparently soften the enamel, and brushing it can therefore damage it. So you can just have plain water. What I would also recommend is, if you're not used to drinking a big glass of water in the morning, don't try and start with a pint of water. Start with a smaller glass and just work your way up. Remember, your body needs time to adjust in anything you do. So, an exercise routine, you can't expect to do an hour every 3 days of something quite intense if you've never done anything before. And it's the same with changing your diet. Gradual changes are much kinder in the body, and it allows the body to adjust and adapt to what you're doing. But a pint of water, it's great for hydrating first thing. I find it energizes me. I also find, because I don't eat until a bit later in the morning, it helps stave off any sort of hunger if I should feel hungry, because it does kind of fill the stomach up. So it's really good as a sort of weight management tool to help you in that area. So that's my habit number 1. Habit number 2. Habit number 2 is having 2 to 3 cups of green tea each day. Now, green tea is not everybody's taste, so I'll explain how you can actually improve it for you. Green tea has compounds in it that have been found to be protective against cancers and various other things. So it's actually quite a healthy drink. But like anything, everything in moderation. 2 to 3 cups a day seem to be really quite good for your health. A lot of people say to me when I recommend green tea, I don't like it, it's too bitter. And I do understand that. I found the same. But I was very fortunate. A number of years ago, I met a Chinese gentleman at an event, and he was making green tea for people at the event. And he explained that if you boil the kettle and let it stand for a couple of minutes before you pour it on the tea, then you won't get a bitter tea. If you pour it on when it's boiling, the tea will become bitter. So that was a really good tip, and I found that really does work. So try it again if you've already tried it and don't like it. Persevere, because this is actually a really good addition to your healthy habits. A cup of green tea. Now again, you can add a slice of lemon to this. It's better without milk. I wouldn't add milk as a preference, but a slice of lemon is fine. I also like to drink Clipper Organic green tea, or their green tea with lemon. Both are lovely. Again, I want to just stress that my videos are not sponsored at this time. There's no advertising advantage. I'm not affiliated to anybody. This is just what I use, so I just want to share those products that I use. And I do love Clipper green tea, organic and unbleached bags as well, tea bags. And I like loose tea, which I've had today. I really like a cup of loose tea. It feels quite as though I'm spoiling myself, which is not a bad thing. So habit number 2 is a cup or 3 of green tea a day. Habit number 3 encompasses quite a few things for me, and it's exercise. And my daily exercise that I'm referring to is going out walking the dogs. And I benefit in so many different ways by walking the dogs. First of all, the exercise itself. My dogs pull forward. They can pull on the lead when they're on the lead, and that can help strengthen my arms. You've got a bit of resistance there. I have to walk at some speed with them, and so I can get a bit of aerobic exercise in as well. I stride out. I'm stretching my legs. I'm breathing deeply. I'm bending my joints. I'm getting quite a good all-round workout with my body. I go up hills, walk over rough ground, and it's good for my balance. And as a woman who's mid-years, and we become more susceptible to things like osteopenia and osteoporosis, we don't want to fall down. It's falling down which is the problem. We want to have good balance so that we don't fall down. And I find walking the dogs is really helpful for keeping my balance, keeping the strength in my legs, and the strength of my whole body, really. And I thoroughly enjoy it. I also benefit from meditation. I find going outside, I live in the countryside, I walk in the woodland, I get the forest bathing, I walk across the fields, I listen to the birds sing. I have this enormous peaceful time with just nature, just tuning in. This week I've seen deer, I've seen pheasants, I've seen hares. The hares are back in the field. All sorts of wildlife. I call him Buzz the buzzard. We've got more than one, but I've seen a lot of wildlife already this week, and I take a great deal of joy in that. So it's a huge pleasure for me. So I get my exercise. It's meditative for me. I find that very peaceful. I have time to think. I have time to just forest bathe, which is calming. In the summer, I can boost my vitamin D levels from the sunshine. There's so much I get out of going for a walk with the dogs on a daily basis. So yes, I recommend getting out, getting some fresh air. And you can only do what you can do. So if you've got a park nearby, if you're in the countryside, if you could even get out for 10 minutes just to take a moment, try and move your body. And I used to do, when I used to work in an office for hours on end, I used to make sure I moved every single hour, and I'd go upstairs run upstairs, run down, go and fetch things. I'd deliver things to people just for a couple of minutes, just to get my body moving. And I found that really useful. So it's whatever you can do, whether it's stretching in the morning. I've also, when I was doing my studies for nutrition, I was working full-time and studying 20 hours a week, and my exercise was really suffering for that. I wasn't really moving much because I always had my head in my books. Here's Luna. And I started to do things like press-ups against the unit when I was waiting for something to cook, or lunges, with the kettle boiling. I used to do squats whilst cleaning my teeth. I found a way to bring some movement in. It's not as good, obviously, as getting out and getting, some fresh air and walking or running or cycling or going to a class, whatever it might be. But habit number 3 for me is a daily exercise of some sort, moving my body, which is lovely. Habit number 4, I didn't quite know what to put as habit number 4, and I thought, well, actually, what I tend to do, which has helped me a lot, is I include healthy fats in my diet, also on a daily basis. So if we go back 2 weeks and look at the breakfasts I did, with the morning porridge, for instance, I like to add nuts and seeds to that and get some healthy fats from those. I want to focus particularly on linseeds. I prefer them whole, and I prefer to grind them in a coffee grinder, which it takes no time at all. I just put about a tablespoon in, grind them, and just stir it through the porridge once it's cooked. Now I do that. I like them freshly ground because they can go rancid. I also keep my nuts and seeds in the fridge just to reduce that risk of them going rancid. But I like whole linseeds preferably. I am using ground at the moment, but I prefer them so they don't go rancid. You can crush them as you need them. Now, linseeds are particularly good because they are a phytoestrogen, so it's a plant estrogen. It's different to human estrogen, but they can be beneficial to us, and particularly women going through the menopause, perimenopause, or with any sort of hormone balance issue. And I think they're really useful from that perspective. It's good fibre as well, a bit of protein. But yes, the healthy fats are particularly important. If we look then at the blinis, I did a smoked salmon and scrambled egg on mine recently. And again, salmon is full of essential fatty acids, omega-3 particularly is what we look for from oily fish. So I include that. Now it's become pretty much because of, here we go. I've got an interloper. Because of my nutrition training, it is now second nature to me, I'd say, to include a good balance in my diet. But also eggs, I like free-range organic eggs to get the best I can there. I would prefer to have my own hens again because I know what they're fed. I know they have a happy life, they can run around. But I don't, so I buy organic and free-range. So I get some more sort of healthy fats through those. Now my third breakfast I put out there was frittata. And again, I've got the eggs in there. And you can put, I did little muffins recently, frittata muffins, and I had some poached salmon in those, but you could put some smoked mackerel in, some more healthy fish. So I also served the egg and smoked salmon with avocado, and again another healthy fat. So it's about really balancing proteins, carbohydrates, and including healthy fats and not being afraid of fat. So that's my habit number 3, including healthy fats. That's habit number 4, beg your pardon. Habit number 5 is my nighttime routine, and this can vary depending on the season really, but my nighttime routine involves going to run a bath. I add some essential oils, so it's a warm bath. I don't have it too hot because I don't want my body temperature to get too high. Body temperature needs to drop for a good night's sleep. But I do like to have a little soak. It prepares me for bed. I also live in a drafty cottage, and in the winter it's nice to just warm yourself through, because my bedroom is very cool, so it's nice to warm myself through in a bath, but not too hot. I can't do a hot bath. And I add a little bit of essential oil. I use one that helps with muscle relaxation, but sometimes I put lavender in, and I just change it depending on how I feel and what I need. Then what else do I do? If I'm wearing mascara, then I will remove my makeup with a beautiful natural cleanser. And I will make, at this time of year, I will make a hot water bottle for the bed just to take the chill off it. And I'll probably have another cup of tea before bed. I quite like chamomile before bed because I find that quite soothing. But I don't do that all the time. I vary the type of tea. But lavender and chamomile together is particularly nice. So a bedtime routine, it's also about... I don't lower the lights in my house because we don't have any central lights downstairs, so it's always table lamps, so the light is always subdued, but lowering the light level to just prepare yourself rather than having really strong blue light. I tend to turn off my gadgets, and I do not leave my gadgets by the bed. It's good to keep your telephone and iPads or any other gadget at least 4 foot away from the head of your bed to avoid any electromagnetic fields that might interrupt your sleep. So I do that. If you use it as an alarm, it doesn't matter that it's across the room. You have to get out of bed anyway. So you might as well have it across the other side of the room. Get out of bed to turn it off. So yes, a nighttime routine. I have blackout blinds, a cool room, prepare myself for bed, and yeah, I read a little bit before I put out the light as well, so it for me that works beautifully, and I tend to sleep the whole night through. And I think as a woman, again, going through perimenopause, menopause or postmenopause, your sleep is exceptionally important. It is throughout life, but at this stage a lot of women struggle. So a good nighttime routine which just preps your body to start slowing down, and it recognises that time for sleep. Take your time, enjoy it, and pamper yourself a little bit if you can during this process. So habit number 5 is a good nighttime routine that helps prepare me for a good night's sleep. So I hope these little habits that I carry out may give you some inspiration, that you might draw on that and find something that you want to do for yourself. But they really are, I think, supportive of my overall health, well-being, and good habits are always easy to do. I find once you've got it in place, it's so easy just to know exactly morning routines this, evening routines that, and I'm away. So I hope to see you again soon. Please share these videos if you like them. Subscribe, comment. I'd love to know what your thoughts are, and I will see you again soon. Thank you. Bye.